Mhm. Hey, hey, we are live. We are live. Susanne, Frandsen, and myself. Cheers with the coffee. It's bright and early for me anyway. I need my coffee. Welcome, welcome, welcome. What a beautiful day it is today. And I want to welcome everyone that is going to be with us on this special webinar, Facebook Live interview series that I'm doing, because I've been working on the project to set up my changemakers. And why am I setting up my changemakers? Well, I'm doing that because I really think that people out there, leaders out there who really want to make a difference and make a positive change in the world, stand out from the crowd, having the courage to go forward and lead their team, their businesses, their organizations, their communities, or even nations forward. They need support. They need someone to hold their back. And that is why I've collected together people in my network that I believe are the creme de la creme in the industry. People that have different types of toolboxes, different types of tools in their toolboxes that can help leaders to catapult the change that they want to see in their world. And today I'm super excited to have one of the change makers with me, Susanne Frandsen, who is talking to me from Denmark, and here I am in Iceland. So welcome, Susanne. Before I start, I want to tell you a little bit about Susanne, because I think she's quite something, this woman. Now, she is the author of the book, Director Manual, Leadership from the Heart. It happens to be only in Danish, so I think there are two things. Either we have to turn her hand around and she's actually going to make that, translate that into language that more people can read, or we have to learn Danish, whichever is easier. Well, she is a lecturer and a facilitator of the new leadership paradigm for individuals and organizations. Not to mention that she is the founder of For Change Holding with her concept, Susanne Frandsen, Your Path to Purpose and Peace. I also have to mention that on top of that, Susanne is part of a network, and she's actually a co-founder of the Network for Transformational Leaders, which is a global alliance of transformational leaders doing changemakers works worldwide. And today I am really excited to have Susanne with us, because she's going to be sharing with us 5 insights how to live your purpose. And as we're doing this both on Webinar Jam and we're doing this on Facebook Live, I do hope that you feel free to comment or put in any questions as we're going through. We will try to answer them as much as we possibly can. And of course, if you feel that finding your purpose is something that your network would be of value for your network, then feel free to share this link. That would be an absolute beauty. So Susanne, before we go, when we dig into your 5 insights, tell me, why do you feel it is important for leaders to know their purpose?
First of all, I'm so happy I was invited, Rúna. I'm very thankful, because I really dig the change maker concept. And I listened yesterday when you and Margareta was talking about courageous leadership. And I actually think that being courageous as a leader, it is a prerequisite for you to be aligned with your purpose, to know your why. I usually say there are 2 important days in a person's life. There's the day you're born and the day that you find out why.
Wow.
So I think for you to be authentic, you have to be aligned. I call it heart-brain coherence. And actually, when we follow our heart, we follow our purpose, we get more intelligent. So there's a bonus info if you didn't know. You actually use more of your brain if you follow your heart. So sometimes I do an exercise with people where I ask them to look at their hands and look at their feet and just ask the hands, did I do things wholeheartedly? Or did I do things that I didn't have all of my heart in? And then look at your feet and ask, did I walk myself in directions where I felt that I wholeheartedly should be, or did I not? And I think those are important questions as to you as a leader for others, but also leading yourself. Actually, I would say that you cannot lead others if you're not able to lead yourself. So it's really, really important for you to know your why. Why are you here? And I usually see people, mankind as an organism, and that each one of us is a cell in this organism. And to the extent that we are aligned and at peace with ourselves, the whole mankind, the organism, is aligned and healthy and balanced and peaceful and everything else. But if you are not as a cell in this big organism called mankind, aligned with yourself, then healthy is not a question for yourself, and neither for the organism, mankind. So we actually have to pull things back to ourselves and start there.
And as a leader, leading a team or a business or whatever, being able to do that, and really knowing why you're doing that is then really going to give you that strength and that courage, like you mentioned, that whole thing of being whole.
Yes. You probably know from being with other people that if people are really passionate, you can feel it. Oh, and actually, you can measure that vibrancy that people send out, that you actually can measure a circle around you about 1 meter if you're just, human. But once you're aligned with yourself and your passion, this field will extend and triple.
Oh, wow.
So that is why when you enter a room and you have something charismatic, passionate, engaged person on scene, that you can feel uplifted. And this is because of the energy that you are able to generate when you come from the right place. So it's really important for everybody, and definitely as a leader for others, to be able to engage others and hold the space for others to reconnect with themselves. Because that would be a great organization when you're able to do exactly that. So there has to be alignment between your inner purpose, but also the organization that you're part of. It's more and more important for people that there is an alignment between their values and their purpose and the values and purpose of the organization.
Exactly. And I think probably that is often not aligned, and there is often, that's where the breakage is.
Yeah. And actually, a study in Denmark showed that 40% of all employments are ended within 1 year because people move on. So it's a very expensive exercise for you to, as a company and as a leader, if you don't do this inner work and make sure that you're not only yourself aligned, but also that your employees are aligned with their purpose. And being whole within themselves. So it's very important. I use the passion test as a tool. You mentioned the toolbox.
Yeah.
And I use the passion test one-on-one or in groups. But you can actually also use the tool for organizations to find out what is the purpose of the organization. Because like we are each a cell in mankind, the organism of mankind. So could you also look at a company to see the company is also a cell in mankind? And the notion that we are competing with one another is actually a falsehood. We just have to be in the zone of genius, in our right element, all of us, and we can actually co-create something rather fantastic. Heaven on earth, as I like to call it.
I love your concept with heaven on earth. I love that. So going back to the 5 insights of how to discover your purpose, I think that everyone really wants to know this. And so I think we need to dig into that really to unfold. How do you actually do this?
Because many people think it's difficult when really it isn't. It really isn't that difficult, but we have the notion of no pain, no gain. and that life isn't meant to be easy. So we're sort of blindsided to the fact that actually what life wants from us is that we do what we long for. Our dreams are not a coincidence. Actually, if you tap into your dreams and your longings, you will find the answers. You can ask yourself these 3 questions in order for you to find your purpose, or to get a clue at least. You can ask yourself, what do you love to do? What are you good at? What do people ask your advice for? Then there will always be an overlap between these 3, and then the fact that you can get paid for it as well, for your wisdom. So just imagine a whole world where people actually do what they love, what they're good at, and what people ask for advice for. Now, how cool would that world be?
That would be heaven on earth, I think.
It would be, yes.
Yeah. And this is where I think many organizations and businesses are absolutely failing big time.
Yes.
On this very important question. Are you doing what you love? I think actually it's the way that I see it as a human waste. How little of this is actually being unleashed inside of businesses, and people are just in boxes doing what they're supposed to be doing rather than doing what they, encourage or finding and knowing. Yeah. So I think we have a huge task in front of us, Susanne, to fix that thing.
Yes, we do. And I'm looking very much forward to it because my passion is to help others find theirs. So I won't be unemployed within the next couple of years. But actually, we should rather implement the notion of no gain with pain. And we should actually just be like water. What does water do? Water doesn't run uphill. Water runs downhill. And if water encounters a big stone, water doesn't stop and try to figure out, how do I make a hole in this stone? No, it just finds the way with least inner resistance. And so should we. And that is just really a paradigm shifting in our mind. And that is actually why we should go to the next insight, perhaps, is to how to create a passionate brain. Because what we're doing is that we have all these beliefs, we have all these stories, we have all these traumas in our backpack that we drag with ourselves into the now. And we're sort of driving our car looking in the rear mirror instead of out of the front mirror, right? So we actually have to get into the 0 point of our stories, to let go of all of the limiting beliefs, to be able to live out our purpose. So the next step is to clear your thoughts and let go of victimhood. Yeah. Let go. So you should fire your inner critique, and you should really own the principle, the law of attraction, that where attention goes, energy flows. Yeah,
such a big one.
Yeah. So if you constantly search in your mind for things to go wrong, aka the beliefs of no pain, no gain, and we shouldn't choose the path of least resistance, then we are constantly doing what our minds do best, is to find everywhere where things can go wrong. Yeah. And we should actually reverse that and start looking for the things that we need or like or long for and dream for instead of everything else.
And so, this has what Margareta was talking about yesterday around courageous leaders and being in the fear. So and how when leaders are in their fear zone, that's where they're building these blocks around them that don't make them authentic. People don't get close to them. They're all in that space. So what you're just saying as well is really about as well to let go of that. Go where, think about yourself, like you mentioned with water, which I think is brilliant, really. And And actually, so you're not going to make the hole in the stone.
I would actually like to question one of Margaretta's statements yesterday, if I can.
Yeah.
Because she sort of, I felt like it was set in stone that you had to be fearful, and just to the extent you're aware of your fears, you're okay. But I would actually like for people to go a step further, to work on letting go of the fears, because it is possible. It is indeed possible. And that is what I use the passion test for, is actually to do the reprogramming, because the fears are just a leftover from traumas that we had in the past. And we can actually manage to let go of the traumas and thereby the fear, so that we don't get into the reptile part of our brain where we ask ourselves, should I fight, freeze, or flee? I mean, so we can actually get into the more conscious part of our brain where we can make conscious decisions and actually be able to be in the now and be curious as to what is going on within me. And then for each level, another devil, I know, but peel the onion. It is possible to peel the onion.
Yeah.
It is indeed possible. I've had really extraordinary client cases in which people have been able to let go of chronic diseases just by being made aware of what is going on in my subconscious mind. Because your brain is the chemistry. So the thoughts you're thinking are creating the chemistry in your body, and good positive thoughts are creating good positive chemistry, and vice versa with the negative thoughts. So negative thoughts create the base for sickness in a broader sense. So we should really try to go on a mental diet and just really let go of all the thinking that we don't need, because otherwise we would keep stopping ourselves from living out the purpose.
I like that concept, going on a mental diet. That sounds like you're really just in the now.
Yes. And we have to be in the now to present what is calling for me from the future. Because usually
what is calling for me for the future. So knowing my purpose, having that connection between my head and my heart, and moving from there forward.
Yes.
Without resisting.
Yes. Because our mind is usually either in the past or the future.
Yeah.
It's not in the now. And we have to bring our attention to the now in order for us to actually make inspired action out of sensing what is calling from the future for me right now.
Whoa.
Yeah,
I think you have a huge task ahead of you, Susanne. The world is needing this, needing this. So going to from this part to then the third part.
Yes.
And
so the third thing you could do in order for you to be more aligned with your purpose is to start listening to your inner GPS, aka your heart, aka your soul, aka your higher self, aka your emotions. So what does it feel like right now? Does it feel heavy or does it feel light? Do you feel contracted or do you feel expanded? This is actually your soul communicating with you, telling you, letting you know if you're on track of your purpose or if you're off track. So if everything feels expanded and light, you're on track. But if you feel contracted or everything feels heavy, then it means one of two things. Either you're off track or you're thinking about what you're in right now is wrong, aka your mental diet, right? It could be leftover from your belief system.
That could be really tricky to know which one it is.
Yes. But what
is that mental thing, is that, are the thoughts, fearful thoughts of, oh, I can't handle it, or this is too big, or all these self-doubt thoughts.
Yeah, and I usually recommend that if people are not able to distinguish one from the other, I ask them to take just a little step further in the direction of feeling heavy. Because what usually happens is that when we get out of our comfort zone, we meet the feeling of fear, like you and Margareta talked about yesterday.
Yeah.
And fear is just a temporary emotion if it's, you know, in accordance with our comfort zone. So if we get on the other side, actually it only takes about 20 seconds for the brain to realize that, whoops, we didn't die. Because the brain actually thinks that we are going to die. Studies have been made with people jumping out in parachutes to see how does the organism respond to that upcoming event. And what they see is that everything is going on busy, busy, busy up until the point of the jump. After the jump, everything is quiet. Because by that time, the brain realizes, oh, I'm still here. No worries. You know, so you actually have to push yourself to the limit and just go a little bit further and to just realize if it's fear. If it's fear, it will go away instantly. And if it's not fear, if it was the wrong direction, it will feel even heavier. So just take a small step. Just take a small step forward.
Small steps forward. Small steps forward. I like that. I love that. So going then from this and then to the fourth step that you can take. So the fourth insight to discover your
So the fourth insight is that you should let go of control.
Oh, really? Should I?
And how hard can that be? I mean, we're just so used to executing and making plans, being the project manager of our lives, but actually you're not the CEO of the universe. So you actually have to align yourself with the laws of physics, the law of attraction, in which it has 3 steps: intention, attention, no tension. So the intention part is getting clear on where you want to go. The attention part is to align your actions with where you're going. And then the third stage is to go into no tension. So let go of figuring out how you're going to get to your intentions. So you should take...
That's the most difficult thing.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. When I have written my book, I had an intention saying that I want to get it reviewed in the biggest business paper in Denmark. So that was my intention. My attention was to find out who did these reviews, and I contacted him, and actually it was somebody that was a teacher in my school back when I went to the business school, and he congratulated and said, well, I can't promise you anything. I can only review 4 each month, and I get so many books from Denmark and international books. But you can send it, but I can't promise anything. And then after 2 months, somebody in my network called me up saying, did you see that your book is in the newspaper this month or this week? And I was like, what? It was only 2 months ago. But what I didn't do was that I didn't go into the mind stories of, who do you think you are, Susanne? This is your first book and you're now in competition with international bestsellers. So who do you think you are? Self-publishing, right? But actually I just did what I did, and I let go to the extent that I forgot that I had done it. I actually forgot it. And actually the law of attraction only requires you to focus intensely 68 seconds on something. It has to, then it has to manifest itself at some point. It has created enough momentum to do that. But it requires that you do not send contra orders to the universe.
Yeah.
So that's why you have to go into no tension.
And that is really different from when just very briefly, because you mentioned law of attraction, that it is not just about, oh, I just have to think the thought and then it comes. So really, you need to have that, know what it is that you want, do what you can do to make it a reality, and then let go of how it's actually going to happen.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, there is a big difference in that. I'm just thinking. There's a big difference in that, but just, you know, there is a misconception of it. People think, oh, I just have to think the thought, be positive, but it's not exactly only that.
I guess people got that from movies like The Secret. And I actually asked Janet Atwood, who casted 70% of the people to The Secret, saying, I sort of missed something. And she said, you know what? We did have intention, attention, no tension in the movie, but it was cut out in the editing phase. Because it was sort of, you know, it's easier for people to buy. I just have to sit on my couch and say, Aum, and then I get a big car in my garage. I mean, it feels more, and they actually have to do something, and they also have to let go. And that you cannot manifest anything in the outer world that doesn't resonate with you. And that is why your purpose is also important, because if you don't lock into that feeling, that frequency, you cannot manifest anything.
Yeah, so that goes back to knowing really who you are.
Yes, so important.
Yeah, so that it is aligned with what you want, is really aligned with who you are. Yes. Because otherwise it's not going to work. Okay. Yeah, exactly. So going to the fifth and the final way that we can go ahead and to find and discover.
For you to learn to enjoy the contrast of life. Meaning that if you are a photographer, the way you develop your pictures is in a dark room from the negatives. And so do we as humankind. We also get really clear, crystal clear on our dreams and our longings when we have experienced the contrary. So we should really try to sort of appreciate the contrast more. But what we could also try to train ourselves into is to harvest the fruits from the contrast quicker. Two questions you can ask yourself if you find yourself in a crisis, contrast period of some kind. What does it force me to do? What does it keep me from doing? Because when you find the answers to these questions, you can find the learnings in the contrast. And things are only going away to the extent that you have, you know, harvested the learnings, that you know why you had to learn it. So if you can learn it quicker, you can move with more ease through life and still be like water, you know, find the path of least resistance. So really learn to appreciate that.
Yeah.
And know that light doesn't exist if you don't know what darkness is. Love doesn't exist if you don't know what hate is. So that is life. Dichotomy. You have to have both.
Yeah. You have to have sorrow to be able to love or enjoy the laughter. Yeah.
It is in the period of contrast that you really send out all these longing thoughts for what you really want, and then you have to clear your mind in order for you to receive it.
So true. So true. What an insightful 5 insightful tips that you've given us, Susanne. Absolutely fantastic. I know that if you go to susannefrandsen.dk or simply go to the Changemakers website, which is in making as we speak, but will be there. If you want to follow up with what we will be doing, then go to runamagnus.com and sign up, and you'll get a little bit of a notification before we do anything in the near future. So, Susanne, I see people have been joining us and giving us likes and giving us hearts and things on Facebook. So thank you so much, everyone who's been doing that. If you feel what you've just been listening to from Susanne, if you feel that these 5 insights are something your network would love for you to or would love to tap into, then feel free to share this video. It's an open video, and we are here to basically be the change makers, to help other change makers to become the change. So the more that we are, the better. And you were saying?
I was just saying that I actually have a free ebook, and I think you will put up the link so that people can download the free ebook. Which is actually an ebook that will learn you much more about these 5 insights. So
I will put it underneath the video on Facebook so that people can go in there and download it. And the name of the ebook again?
It's an ebook on how to move through crisis or contrast with ease and joy. And actually it goes into all 5 of these details or insights and more so. It's 7 strategies which I elaborate on, and actually people will receive 7 emails after it elaborating even further on the strategy. So it's a free online course as well.
Oh wow, thank you. That is fabulous. On that note, I just want to say thank you to everyone who has been with us. I hope you enjoyed it. I learned a lot. So thank you so much. And I'm going to be doing more of this, or more of my change makers are going to be on Facebook Live. So please either drop me a line or go to runamagnus.com and sign up, and so that you get notification when the next one comes up, which will be in about 2 weeks' time, I think. So from there, I'm just going to say bless from Iceland. And I think in Denmark, you have a very special way of saying bye-bye.
Farvel.
Yeah, you say farvel. Yeah, but you say hi.
Yeah, we do that as well.
I think that's the funniest ever. So I'm going to say bless, and you're going to say
hi.
Bye.
So it was a pleasure.